Welcome back, Home Glitches. It's always good seeing you. In today's video, we're going to be looking at how to do 3D motion. That's right, motion in a 3D environment, how to do motion and animation movement in Polypop along with some of its features that go along with that. It's going to be another banger. Let's get started. Welcome back to my YouTube. I appreciate you swinging back. Always smash my socials. Thumbs up goes a long way. I really do appreciate it if you do. If you don't know what Polypop is, I'm going to link a couple other videos for us in the description of the video of our video here, because you're going to be missing out on some stuff, and I'm trying to cover things in segments and such. But today, pretty simple stuff. We've already covered triggers and things, but we're going to kind of dive into what motion is and how to use it in the 3D environment. Let's go ahead and start on the video. Alright, we're going to be doing some 3D movement. In order to kind of show some of this off, I just wanted to have a canvas of sorts, so I just have a game running in the background so you can kind of see perspective and shadow and things like that. Really good idea once you've got your backdrop set to lock it by just right-clicking on the scene and clicking and unlock. And you'll see up on the top there, you'll get a nice little lock symbol demonstrating that it has been locked. So now when you click and move things around, you're not moving the backdrop around and stuff like that. So it can be a little bit of a pain in the butt when you're doing that. So let's just add some 3D objects. Today I'm just going to use 3D text, nothing too crazy. You can change the text to whatever you want. To my YouTube. Here we go. Whatever kind of text you want. It's got a shadow, things like that. We're just going to go ahead and play around with some of the features that we can play around with. Let's go and highlight the text, and then we're going to go into the mods situation. I don't worry too much about the physics today. I might cover that in a different one as well. Let's cover the inflate action real fast. When you scroll down and you click on the inflate, or you have a trigger to it, it basically just makes it nice and big, and then it shrinks back down. And you can change these variables, minimum size, and things like that. You know, its style and its time, its release. So you can kind of, if you have a specific animation in mind, you can kind of adjust it. This doesn't change the position; it just changes basically the scale real fast. So just keep that in mind as well. Let's see. What we want to do here. Go into mods. So the next one is the move action. We can move now the object itself in the y-axis, the x-axis, or even the z-axis. So let's just go ahead and put a couple numbers in. Let's make it go plus on the y, minus on the z, a little bit on the x. And then when we click on move, the object itself should move in the scene. Actually moved up to the top of the scene, and it's the shadow being cast. Kind of some bigger movement than I thought I was going to do. You can reset it by changing this back down to variable, or if you want, you can go back into here and just add a new mod, and we'll do a return to the origin action. And this should give you a little node, and that node should set up defaulted to the center of the screen. You can move the node as you want, like if it has its default position after you have lots of movement snapping off. Once you clicked return to origin, it should come right back down to where it started from. Okay, let's see here, and you can move that node around and stuff. Let's see what else can we do here. Go into mods. Spin action, probably one of my favorites. It's just a spin. It's defaulted on the y-axis, but you can spin it on the x or the z. So let's just play around with some of the axis spins, and we'll go ahead and give that a spin. You can see it's breaking through the game a little bit, and that's just because of where it is in relationship to the canvas. So you probably have to bring it up on the z-axis a little bit before it does too much of that. Let's return to origin again. And what else do we got going in here? I'm clicking things too much. Alright, so if you see some of this stuff and you need to skip ahead, go for it, but I just wanted to showcase some of it. Screen edge move, this will move the object. It's kind of weird seeing it with text because it's not like it's a little bit more of a rectangular object. You can see the object box, it's more of a rectangle, but it will spin clockwise or counterclockwise around the edge of the screen, and you can adjust its animation speed and its rotation with that as well. The depth percentage should also change it on the z-axis. So if you want it to be a little bit closer to the screen, you can do that. Or if you want to change the depth to be a little bit smaller, it should go down further, so it looks like it's a little bit smaller. So that's kind of what that does. And for now, I think I'm going to actually just delete that mod, so it's no longer spinning. Let's move it back to the center. What else we got going on in here? Random move, just what it says. Moves randomly on the screen. A little bit off the screen in this case because it is a rectangular object, and it just tries to stay on screen as much as it possibly can. And there's also a depth range percentage, and this again will make it go closer or further away on the z-axis, giving it a little bit more freedom of movement. And the time percentage is also kind of the rate in which it is animating. So if you want it to go slower or faster, you can change that as well. But you need to take that one off. And I'm going to reset back to the origin again. And you could toggle all these mods off and on with triggers, by the way. Let's see. Change color and collision. That's more of a physics thing, although you can make it collide on the side of the screen. Physics. Yeah, these are all mostly physics on the bottom, so I'm not worried about that stuff today. Just kind of showing some of the movement stuff. There was one other one I wanted to check out. And I think that was, hold on, what am I clicking on? I'm not clicking on the right stuff. Mods, the look at one. So I'm going to show look at real fast. In order to actually use the look at function, you have to have two objects on the screen. I kind of do technically, but let's grab another 3D object to demonstrate this better. So I'm going to grab a 3D text. I'm going to move it a little bit off to the side. Oh, I've grouped them. I grabbed them both. So I have 3D text and my sub to YouTube text is whatnot, and they're all both 3D text in the menu as far as the title goes. So what you need to do with the look at object is you come down to where it says look at, and it's right now it says no object. When you click that, on the very bottom it will say drag and drop a compatible item from the scene layout. And if you go straight down when you do this, you're going to kind of override it. It's going to select what you want. What you kind of need to do is click and go to the left a little bit, and then swing down. And you should be able to, if you do this correctly. Oh, I selected the other one. That's not what I wanted to do. You have to go fast. And then you just drag on the no object there. And now what you've got happening in the scene is this object is looking at this object. So let's say if this was on like a random move, or if I just move it around the scene, click, hold, move. Did I lock this one? No. You can see that the other object is looking at it. Okay, it's a little weird because that object is really large and rectangular. But if I have this object like on a random move, for example, let's go down, mod, random move, you can see that the objects are looking and orientating to each other, which is actually a really neat effect. All right, that's all well and good. As far as like cool features and things, but how do we really apply that to something practical? And well, there's a lot of ways to do this, and there's a lot of ways to anything you can think of, but a couple practical uses is just manipulating your camera and your backdrop. All right, so we're back in a blank screen right now, and I kind of wanted to show more of some practical uses, I guess. So let's go ahead and bring in our NDI source again. Actually, you know what? I'm going to bring it in as a 3D object. So let's go in 3D object. We're going to grab a scene screens. I'm just going to grab scene number 4. I'm going to use my NDI source as it's populating, its texture. And then I'm going to go ahead and select it. I'm going to go down and I'm going to change the scale, and I'm going to bring this nice and big. Okay. Something like that. It's not too terribly right, but whatnot. I'm going to go ahead and open up a library. I'm going to bring in another... Actually, you know what? We're going to do it as a screen again. So I'll do screen number 3, I guess. And this time I'm going to use my webcam. and it's there. It's hard to see because it's not on the Z-axis. I was like, where did it go? So let me go ahead and change the position here. So it is above. Whoop, there it is. It is actually in the correct spot. It's above the other one. And I think I'm going to change the scale of this one just a little bit more. So it's a little bit bigger. So we have basically two 3D objects, my gameplay and my webcam, and they're oriented basically so you can't even see the 3D. So the first thing I want to do is go into my library. I'm going to go into some sort of trigger. You can use it as anything, you know, stopwatch, a Twitch alert. In this case, I'm going to use hotkey. I'm just going to hit hotkey number 1. And what I'm going to do is on press, we're going to go over to one of these sources. I'm going to end up using both of them. Right now I'm on my 3D source, my NDI, which is my game. And we go down to where it says the transform position. And when you're in here, the wire properties, you can actually change its position. And it should start with whatever you populate it. So right now, these numbers automatically populate in there, which is useful for us. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to go on key press. I'm going to grab also the rotation. And then over here again, I'm going to go ahead and pull another rope out. And I'm also going to grab the scale. Okay. All right. That's not all I'm going to do. I'm going to go ahead and go up to the top right. I'm going to go ahead and click that guy up there. This one, I believe, is my webcam. And I'm going to do the same thing on hotkey. I'm going to key on press. I'm going to rope over. And I'm basically going to grab its current position, its current rotation, and its current scale. Okay. Now, when you get these, you can also change, although I'm not going to change it now, its animation time and its value to set. That's the same thing that's populated over there, but you can change the animation time. So if you want to have something to animate slower and smoother, you can change the time up, maybe 3 seconds or so. I'm going to leave it on a half a second for now, and then we'll mess with it. Now I'm going to come back over here as well, and I'm going to go ahead and hit another hotkey. And this one, I'll just assign my 2 button for it. And before I start dragging ropes, I'm going to actually change these positions. So I'm going to move this guy kind of where I want it. I'm going to go down to its transform, and I'm going to mess with its rotation and its position. And I can also see that the game is kind of breaking through that to this line here. So if I go down on the Z-axis, you'll see that it doesn't have that anymore. I guess it depends on how extreme you want to go with this. I'm kind of just going a little bit more than I normally would. And then I'm going to go do the same thing with my camera. I'll go ahead and bring the scale up on this one, and I'll go ahead and bring its rotation the other opposite way, and maybe its position up a little bit. I don't know, something like that. And now I'm going to go underneath my hotkey, and on hotkey 2, I'm going to go ahead and grab on press. We're going to go up to these objects. I got to highlight them. We're going to go ahead and grab the current position, and you can see that the position has changed because it's currently what's populated. And I'm going to do that again for the rotation, and I'm going to go ahead and grab the scale. Now I probably would be using and do the same for my NDI source, my gameplay. I probably would be using some sort of action sequence to do this, because I don't want it just to have it straight one button, but you know, maybe with some particle effects, or you know, maybe some audio playing, or maybe even on a loop, so I can have my camera just like slightly bobbing up and down. Quite a few options here, but I just really wanted to show off some rudimentary key press actions to show off like 3D movement in such. So I'm just going to press 1 on the keypad. It's going to set up to its normal orientation, which is normal flat face, and I'm going to hit 2. And the animations are really, really fast, so I'm going to go back into the library. I'm going to go ahead and hit the on press, and over here on each one of these, you would have to kind of show the properties, and you would have to change the animation time to each one of them. I would probably have this animate closer to 3 seconds, and again, I'm not going to get this perfect, And I'm just clicking show properties, and I'm changing the animation time to about 3 seconds. And then scale, show properties, about 3 seconds. Okay, and then I have to do the same thing with the other object. Show properties, 3 seconds. I know I should probably just fast forward a few seconds if you don't want to see this. Show properties, 3 seconds. So I'm just trying to make the animation a little bit smoother. And it's not exact, but you know, this is what we're using for the purposes of this. All right, I'm not worried about the other way. I'll just do it for this direction, so you're not seeing too much of a thing. So we're back to the normal spot now, which animates faster. But now when I hit 2, it animates a little bit slower. So you get that nice little dynamic movement. And this is one way you can kind of change scenes, or you can bring in new elements. I'd probably have a different background going, and then something just to throw off, you know, show off the 3D-ness of what Polypop is. This is just a quick little technique for it. Pretty cool, huh? I love it. All right, that should wrap up everything for us today. And not only can you add motion animation to your stream, but now you can do it in 3D.